Malika for joining us today. Yeah. So basically, we wanted to do this session because over the last many months we've been getting inquiries from a lot of teachers, and there have been regular inquiries that how we can eventually look into career options in United States. And uh, uh, just to give you a brief about EducoHire and EducoTrain. So EducoHire was, you know, eventually started because we started training teachers for taking online sessions during the period of COVID. And subsequently, we ended up doing more than 170 sessions for a period of 1 year. And then those teachers eventually wanted jobs, and that's how EducoHire was born. And right now, we're proud to say that we're working with 300 plus schools and education institutes across the country and the world. And we have more than 3 lakh teachers and educators who are part of this community. So, without wasting too much of time, I think I'll pass on the baton to Malika. So, Malika, welcome to EducoHire and EducoTrain team. And you can start the session. Please introduce yourself for all the participants.
Okay, good morning, everyone. It is morning from my end. I know that it is afternoon or evening time for the majority of you. My name is Malika Palmer Allen, popularly known as Malika's Flex, and I am very much pleased. It's an honor to be here with you all today, just to share my experience with you, and how you too could land a teaching job in the United States. So just a little background about me. I am originally from Jamaica, which is in the Caribbean. And I moved to the United States in 2021 to teach directly from my country. And as I said before, I want to share with you all how you too could move to the US, basically free of charge. I'm going to get into that later on. So please stay with me. If you have questions, you could put them in the chat, and I will try to answer your questions at the end of my presentation. Let me go ahead and share with you just a small slide that I have prepared. I won't be using it for the most part, but let's see how far we can get with this. So you are interested in teaching. Give me a moment. Oh, I have not used this app in a very long time. Okay, there we go. Right, so you are interested in teaching in the US for whatever reason, and you are unsure as to how to get started. You are unsure as to the opportunities that are out there for you. And that is what I want to share with you today. As I said before, I am popularly known as Malika's Flex. I do share this information for free on my YouTube channel called Malika's Flex. So when we're finished here, you can always check out my YouTube channel. So let's start with the basic requirements to teach in the United States. First and foremost, you do need to have a bachelor's degree in the field that you are aspiring to teach. So what exactly does this mean? It means that if it is that you are interested in teaching mathematics, your bachelor's degree should be math related. If you are interested in teaching language arts, English language arts, your bachelor's degree should be related to English language arts. If you are interested in teaching science, your bachelor's degree should be related to science. Now, I'm saying related to, and that it should be a bachelor's degree. Some companies will require that your degree be a teaching degree. There are some school districts that are not very strict on this rule. I'm going to get into the companies versus the school districts applying directly and not. So please stay with me, all right? So the basic requirement overall is usually a bachelor's degree in the field that you are teaching. Now, I understand that some individuals, you got your qualifications years ago, back when the diploma was the thing. If you just have a diploma in teaching, you will need to get upgraded and get a degree. Let's say that your diploma in teaching was in primary education, and then you did your degree, your bachelor's degree in business management or something of the sort. That is still okay because your base degree is still in teaching, and that usually would not pose an issue. Now, along with your bachelor's degree, you will need to have 2 years of teaching experience. And once again, this rule, it's different based on the way in which you will be applying, but generally speaking, it's usually 2 years of teaching experience since obtaining that degree. So if it is that you got your degree in 2023 and you've been teaching prior to that, maybe you started your teaching career in 2016, would you have those required 2 years? The answer is no. If you got your degree in 2023, you would need to gain 2 years of teaching experience since obtaining that degree. That is what will count. All right. Let me go back to your qualification. I did forget to say that your qualification does need to be from a credible institution. And once again, this is all just a preliminary. I will be getting further into that later on, but your institution should be credible. Your program must have been accredited, and you will have to prove this somewhere along the line during your application process. Now, if you are doing direct hire, you will need to have a teaching license before being hired with some school districts. Once again, these are all preliminary things that I'm saying. I may sound like I'm going a bit too fast for some individuals, but I'm getting to it. And once again, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the comment section and I will get to them at the end. All right, so let's get into how to ensure that our bachelor's degree is indeed, and I'm going to stop sharing for a minute, is indeed from a credible institution. Now, there are companies that are approved by different states or that are accepted by different states in the US to evaluate your degrees. So if you have a diploma, a degree, a first degree, a master's, doctorate, whatever it is that you have, you want to evaluate it. And it's important to evaluate it in order to get hired, and not just to get hired, but to get hired and to be on the correct pay scale, all right? Now, I always speak about Spantran because that is the company that I use. There are other companies, and not all states will accept just one single company. Some states will, for example, I went through Spantran. Spantran is accepted in Georgia, which is where I am, but it's not accepted in Virginia. So you will need to check out the state that you are interested in and check out the companies that they will approve. But generally speaking, Spantran is accepted in many states. And of course, you can do your own research to see the other evaluation companies that you would want to use to evaluate your degrees. So evaluating your degree, you would send an application to Spantran. Spantran would generate what we call a reference number. You'd give this reference number to your institution, and they would send your transcripts directly to Spantran, and Spantran will look through your courses to see if all the studies that you did throughout your 4 years, 2 years, whatever amount of years that you studied for, just to see that those courses are indeed equal to a US degree, first degree, or a US master's, or a US doctorate. If I'm sounding funny, please forgive me. I do have the flu, recovering. Just putting that in there, okay? Yes, so that is that on ensuring that your degree is from an accredited institution. This usually costs between $200. It can be less, let's say from between $150 all the way up to $300 US. Whatever quotes that I make today, it will be in US dollars. So that is something for you to think about, getting your degree evaluated. Some people would ask, do I get my degree evaluated prior to applying? The answer is, for some companies, you don't. Personally, I recommend it because it really puts you ahead of the game. It really helps you to have a smoother process. Some individuals, they're kind of apprehensive about it because they're like, it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money to evaluate this degree, and I'm not sure if I will be getting a job in the US after doing this evaluation. However, even if it is that you do an interview with a company, or it is that you land a job before you did the actual evaluation, if your evaluation eventually says that it's not equivalent to a US degree, you still will not be getting that job. So the evaluation is very much necessary, whether you do it prior to applying or after applying, whatever is the case. I suggest you do it while applying for the different teaching opportunities. With your 2 years of teaching experience, that too will also need to be verifiable, meaning whenever you do land that job in the US, they will be asking you to fill out a form called a verification of experience form. Depending on your route, if you're going through an agency or if you're doing direct hire. With direct hire, you may need to get that form certified by your, I don't know what you call it in your country. In my country, we say Ministry of Education. We have to get it verified there to see that, okay, I really do have 2 or more years of teaching experience. If you're going through an agency, usually they do that verification for you. But either way, if you say that you have 2 years of teaching experience, you need to be able to verify that this is indeed the case. All right, I see many questions popping up in the chat already. But like I said, I will be looking at those questions later on. So feel free to keep the questions coming, keep them coming. I will be looking at them very soon. All right, let me go on to the H-1B versus the J-1 visa. So there are basically 2 visa types that most teachers choose to enter the United States, to teach in the United States. And it is important to understand these 2 visa categories, okay? So there's the J-1 visa, which is typically issued through an agency. There are also some school districts that will issue a J-1 visa. And there's also the H-1B visa. All right, so when I'm finished with this section of the presentation, you all can let me know if you are in favor of the J-1 visa or the H-1B visa. Why not? You guys can interact with me through the chat section. Okay, so let's start with the J-1 visa. So the J-1 visa is a cultural exchange visa. So you are expected to come to the United States as a teacher. You stay for 3 years or 5 years, but the first half of your contract is 3 years. Usually you get an opportunity to extend for an additional 2 years, making the experience 5 years in all. The idea behind it is that you come, you learn about the American culture, what you've learned, you bring it back to your home country and you implement these things in your home country. Also, you come with your culture to the United States, and you also implement some of the things from your culture within the United States. So once again, the J-1 visa is a cultural exchange visa. And because of the nature of that visa, it's a non-immigrant visa. So it's not a pathway to a green card, okay? Because of the nature of that visa, you are expected to go back to your home country after your 3 or 5 years for about 2 years before being able to return to the US to work. So yes, you can return to the US as a visitor if you have a visitor's visa or perhaps to study, but in order to work, you will have to return to your home country at the end of the contract and then return after 2 years. Now, there is a way to get around this, and I won't be speaking too much about it right now due to time. However, if it is that you are on or you decide to come on a J-1 visa and you fall in love with the United States, you want to stay, you can always do what is called a waiver. It is very much legal, but it will waive the rule to that 2-year home residency rule. All right, so there is a possibility for you to jump from an J-1 visa onto an H-1B visa. But if you know that your goal initially is to come to the US, to stay in the US, maybe you want to explore an H-1B visa. The H-1B visa is a dual intent visa, all right? So while you come with the intention to work, and you'll continue working, it's not requiring that you have to go back home. You can, through an H-1B visa, get a green card or apply for a green card after some time. So the J-1 visa, like I said before, most times is being offered by or through agencies. Most times, as far as I know, the H-1B visa is offered through school districts through direct hire. Okay. And like I said before as well, the J-1 visa, some school districts only offer J-1s as well. But either way, you can get a J-1 visa or an H-1B visa. Now, just from what I've said thus far about the J-1 visa and the H-1B visa, you're probably thinking, okay, I want to go to the United States. I want to stay in the United States, so the H-1B visa is perhaps the best visa for me. However, it is good to think about the benefits, the pros and cons of each visa type. So even though the J-1 visa is requiring that you go back to your home country, you have to think about it. This is a very expensive journey in terms of just migrating, whether you're migrating as a teacher, farmer, lawyer, doctor, whatever profession it is that you're migrating as, it's always an expensive process just migrating from one country to the next. If you've ever moved from one home to the next within your home country, you know that moving in general takes money, right? So with the J-1 visa, there are many free agencies, meaning they're not asking you to pay in order to apply or pay in order to get a job. These agencies are for free. You sign up with them free of charge. The whole process is free. They send you your documents for free. There are other J-1 programs that charge. I typically do not share the ones that charge. And nothing is wrong with them charging, but I know that my people do not have the money most of the times to be paying J-1 sponsors in order to get a visa to come to the United States. However, the money does come into just other little things such as that degree evaluation, which I spoke about earlier on, applying for the visa itself, looking for somewhere to rent. It all accumulates and it does get expensive, right? So there's that with the J-1. Now, imagine the same process within the J-1, except for the H-1, which is direct hire through some of these school districts. You also have to pay, well, you don't have to, but you might have to pay for what we call a premium processing. Now, with school districts that are offering an H-1B visa, they are required by law to pay the standard processing for that H-1B visa. Wonderful. However, the downside to that is that with the H-1B standard processing, it can take months for it to be processed. Now, I don't know if we have math teachers in the mix here today, but let's do a little math. My math is not the best, but let's do a little math. Let's say you applied in January to a school district. Perhaps they did not reach out to you until about March for an interview or April for an interview. You were finally successful with an interview in April or May, and they have started the processing for that H-1B visa for you. And that processing, the standard processing, is going to take up to 5 months. Now let's do the math. So we have April, May, June, July, August, September before that visa has been processed. And if there was an issue with the initial processing and they have to start over, it's going to take another 5 months, all right? Now, if you want to bypass that long waiting period, some school districts will ask you to pay what we call a premium processing fee. They are not required by law to pay that fee for you. However, you are the job seeker, you are the one wanting to come into the US. And so you will have to find that premium processing fee, which currently is $2,805 US. I see Emmanuel's face. Emmanuel, I saw that, that look on your face just now. Yes, $2,805 for that premium processing. And it cuts down the waiting period from 5 months to 2 weeks, right? So some individuals prefer to do a J1 visa first because they don't have the money for all of what it entails to get an H1B visa. Now, remember, this premium processing, you don't have to, but if you're being wise, you might have to, right? I hope that you're following me. I see, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name correctly, but it's spelled Nyesiga Vienne.
Yes, Gavian.
Yes, I see you. I see your reactions too. Right. So yes, so we're weighing the pros and the cons. So yes, the H1B can eventually get us to a green card. The J1 may take us a longer time to get to a green card because the J1, as I said before, is just a cultural exchange visa. But some individuals prefer to come on the J1, make some money, save some money, and then when their program has finished, they do that waiver and then head on over to an H1B visa school district, okay? Now, another thing to consider between both visas is, do you have a spouse that will be traveling with you to the US? The J1 visa, both visas actually do allow you to bring your spouses. However, the difference is that with the J1 visa, after your spouse has landed in the United States, most time the companies will tell you that your spouse cannot come until after 90 days, 3 months. It seems long, but trust me, the 90 days they will run off, so quickly. So that's the thing with the J1. Your spouse cannot come until 90 days. With the H1B, your spouses can come immediately. But let's look at the J1 versus the H1. With the J1, your spouse will get what we call a J2 visa. So that's a dependent visa. After 90 days, whenever your spouse has landed in the US, your spouse will go through the process of getting his or her documents together, to get the work permit and so that they too can work. This process can take 2 to 3 months, the whole thing. Once again, it sounds long, but within no time that will run off. With the H1B visa, your spouse will be getting what we call an H4 visa, also another dependent visa type. With the H4 visa, as far as I know, as of February 2024, your spouse cannot work on this visa. Your spouse cannot work legally on this visa. Now, some individuals still come on the H1B visa because of the opportunity to get a green card. But you would realize from what I'm saying that it will take a while. So while on the J1 visa, it takes 90 days before your spouse can get to the US, and then perhaps another 90 days to sort out the documents to start working. On the H1, something is popping up on my screen. Give me a second. Let me just ensure that everything is going fine. Something about my English, my language. All right. And as somebody said that they're not hearing, please put one finger up if you are able to hear me. Let me just see if that's just for one person. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So you're hearing me. Right. So where was I? So on the J1, while you will have to wait just a little bit, if you think about it in all, 6 months in all before your spouse is in the US and working. For the H1, your spouse will have to wait until your green card has started to process and the work permit has been issued, which can take 2, 3, 4, 5 years, depending on the school district that you are working with and depending on, the lawyers that are on the case for you. So once again, some individuals prefer to come on a J1 visa because if you're thinking financially, it's the better option in terms of both partners being able to work at a time, especially if you have children to take care of. Children, let's talk about children. Can my child come along with me? Yes. On the J1 visa, your child can come. Once again, most companies will tell you after about 90 days. H1B, yes, they can come. They can come immediately. All right. Let me see if you guys are following me. Just give me a thumbs up if you're following me thus far. I know that sometimes I speak quickly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So you're following me. Wow, the chat is full. The chat is full, and I'm coming to the point where I'll be taking questions very, very soon. Let me just ensure that I covered all grounds. I spoke about the H1 versus the J1 visa.
Germany.
Yash, what were you saying about money?
Nay. I say about Germany.
Oh, Germany. Okay. All right. All right, I'm coming to the questions soon. I'm seeing some interesting questions popping up. I'm going to share my screen once more just to show you. And as I've said before, if you want the full details on how to get to the United States, make sure that you are on my YouTube channel called Malika's Flex. I've named myself here Malika's Flex. You guys can just go to YouTube, type it in, Malika's Flex. I've done multiple videos on how to get to the United States and also different job opportunities that are there for you in the United States. So let me share with you just a few of the H-1B sponsoring school districts. And I've fleshed out on my YouTube how to apply to these school districts, also the J-1 visa sponsors. Please forgive me, like I said before, I'm recovering from the flu, and so I might sound a bit funny. All right, so here we have, and if you want to take a screenshot, do whatever, but these are some of the, I'm trying to get this bigger, right? So these are some of the H-1B sponsors. I've spoken about some of these on my channel already, and I have far more sponsors that I've spoken about on my YouTube channel. But just to name a few, we have the popular Teach Savannah, we have Appoquinimink School District, District of Columbia, and the Jackson Public School District. Teach Savannah is in Georgia. The Appoquinimink School District, I believe, is in Delaware. District of Columbia is in Washington, I believe, and Jackson Public is in Mississippi. Please don't hold me to that. I do so many of these districts, I forget which state they're in sometimes. These are some popular J-1 visa sponsors. There's Interlage. Interlage is popular amongst India, so I know that many of you here are from India. I see many Indians here. And anyone can apply to these. It doesn't matter where you're from. Anyone can apply. So Interlage, there's Participate Learning, Faces, Educational Partners International, just to name a few. There are far more, but these are the ones that I'm sharing with you here today. I'm about to take these off my screen, so if you want to just quickly snap a picture, you can do that. But the meeting is also being recorded, so you can take a look afterwards. All right, so let me head into the questions. It is now 8:30 on my end. I will give you all 30 minutes of question time. Let me scroll. I do not want to miss any of your questions. So feel free to put your questions in the chat box or in the meeting chat box. Right now I'm going through and I'll be looking for your questions. Someone asked earlier on, what about Bachelor of Engineering with a Master of Science and Bachelor Education? Sanjay Kumar, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. So based on the degree that you have, if you're going to apply with an agency, they may tell you that your degree needs to be teaching related, your initial degree. However, if you go for an H-1B district, some districts will accept you with those credentials, okay? Yash is asking, what is the salary? So let me pause and speak about the salary for a little bit. The salary differs from state to state, district by district. For example, as I've said earlier on, I'm in the state of Georgia. There are over 100 school districts in Georgia, and each school district has its own salary scale. What I've done on my YouTube is whenever I share a school district, I try to include the salary schedule for that school district. But what I do not want to tell you is, oh, if you come to the US, you will definitely be earning $50,000 for the year before tax. I don't want to say that because it differs state to state, district by district, and the salary is also dependent on your years of experience and also your qualifications. So let's say, for example, Emmanuel has 5 years of teaching experience. Eze, hoping I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Eze also has 5 years of teaching experience, but Eze has a master's degree. Emmanuel has a bachelor's degree. Both of you have 5 years of teaching experience, but Eze has a master's, Emmanuel has a bachelor's, and so Eze will be paid more than Emmanuel. That's how it works. All right. So yes, if you are interested in seeing more about the salary, the trends within the salary schedules, you can always check out some of my YouTube videos to see how I've broken down the salary scales for you. You can take a look there. But one important thing to note, you will not be coming to the United States without knowing your salary. If you decide to go with a J1 program, they will be sending you an offer letter to sign before they even send you any documents to go to the embassy. So you will know what your salary will be before going, and you can decide from there if it is feasible for you or not. Same thing if you go with an H-1B school district, you will know what your salary will be before coming to the US. You will not be coming blindly. No, that will not be the case. So I hope I covered that for salary. I have a Bachelor of Engineering. Am I eligible for any teaching job? I'm teaching math from past 8 years. Once again, with your bachelor being in engineering and not in teaching, you may want to go ahead and apply for a school district directly, and they'll decide if they want to accept you with that qualification or not. All right, I'm scrolling through. I see many people are sharing their qualifications, but it's not really a question. You're just sharing your qualifications. All right, I'm scrolling. I'm looking for the actual questions. Yeah, similar things. We're all sharing our qualifications. And while I'm here scrolling to look for the questions, please note, I am not a recruiter. I do not recruit individuals to come to the US to teach. I am just a teacher here myself, just sharing my experiences. I am not a lawyer. I do not give law advice. Please, if you need any immigration related advice, please seek an immigration lawyer to help you with that. I'm also live on my YouTube, and I'm just taking a look, and I'm seeing that there are individuals here on my YouTube. So hey, my YouTube channel. Somebody's asking me if they can communicate with me. Find me on YouTube and you'll see the different ways of communicating with me. All right, somebody asked to share the agencies that offer the J1. I already did that. For some reason, some individuals were not able to hear. I hope that that was sorted out for you guys. Okay, this is a good question. Somebody asked, if the children are above 25 years, can they join immediately? Unfortunately, once your child has passed 21, you cannot bring your child with you as a dependent. They'll have to find their own way to the US. I'm so sorry, but no. Be-Ed in Tech, MSc, BEd. I'm not sure what the question is, Sanjay, but I think I responded to a question for you earlier on. Oh, Ezra, this is a long, this is a long thing right here. Let me see if I can go through it. Okay, how much do I need to, oh, this is a good question. So Ezra asks, how much do I need to have in my account to be eligible for the position? So let's start with that question. Eze, is somebody screen recording? Somebody screen sharing? Somebody's asking, how much do I need to have in my account? So there's no requirement as far as I have seen thus far. Nobody asked me for bank statements or anything. I know that there are some J1 companies, when you request that your family come with you before the 90 days, they may ask you to show proof that you're able to, take care of your family before coming to the US. However, generally speaking, nobody asks you. Like, I was broke, okay? I was broke before coming here. I had no money. So nobody's asking you to tell how much money you have in order to come. It's not like, I know that when you apply to go to England and countries like those, sometimes they ask you for a bank statement, but not to come to the US. Also, when will be too late to apply for this hiring season? Also a very good question, Eze. So typically, I'm sorry, I'm seeing somebody is screen sharing. If we could get that off the screen, please. Thank you. Thank you. Right, I was distracted there. I think everybody else was distracted as well. Right, so hiring season, I always tell people, is between January and June. I would say the peak of the hiring season is between February and April. Reason being, and do not be perturbed, do not be alarmed if you applied in January and you have not received a response in February. Many school districts do not give out contracts to their current teachers until the end of February. Some school districts later than that. And it is when they have given the contracts to their current school teachers that they will know which teachers are returning, and then, eventually how many teachers they will need for the upcoming school year. And so they may not start reaching out to you until March, April, May, thereabout. All right. So do not be frightened if you do not get a response from a school district or even an agency a week or two or a month after applying to them. It's just all a part of it. They will reach out to you as soon as there is a vacancy and for your subject area. So maybe your friend teaches math, you teach English, both of you apply to the same district or to the same company, agency, and your friend got a response and you did not. Perhaps there's a need for that subject area at this time more than your subject area. Do not be alarmed. Do not be freaked out. Remain calm and just wait patiently. If you think the wait is too long, in some cases, you could try to reach out to HR. You could just do a Google search for HR's email, send them an email, and, express your concern. Next question. Oh, and to really answer your question, Eze, I would say too late. I would say try to do your applications before May. Try to do your applications before May. I know some individuals, they start the application and they just have it sitting and waiting for how long, and at the last minute you want to finish it. Please submit your applications before May. Right now is a very good time. It's hiring season. I've had many of my subscribers reaching out to say that they've been hired or interviewed already. Now is the time to really ensure that your applications are in, if they're not as yet. Is driver's license a must for the applicant? Very good question, Eze. You are asking very, very good questions. As it relates to the driver's license, some agencies, you'll see it on their applications, they require that you have a driver's license. Some agencies, for example, Interlodge, they do not ask you for a driver's license. But whether you have a driver's license or not, it's good to have one, or it's at least knowledge of how to drive is definitely good, because most of the school districts that you'll be placed in, they're in some pretty remote areas, or areas where buses and trains are not very prevalent. And so you will want to know how to drive, because after a month of being here, you kind of want to get around without an Uber or a Lyft. And those are very, very expensive. Priscilla, I see your hand raised. If you want to, you can unmute your microphone and speak. If you want to speak directly, Priscilla, I'll allow that.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, thank you for this opportunity. I have been teaching for over 26 years in South Africa, but I'm currently in a management position in a provincial office. And I have tried applying and I was interviewed by Participate Learning. And they did not take my previous experience. They wanted current classroom teaching experience. So I'm wondering if I'm managing principals, teachers. I don't know. I got confused about the criteria to say, it seemed to me they wanted me to go back into the classroom, of which it's not viable for me. So do you have a suggestion of any agency that would acknowledge that experience that I have in terms of classroom teaching? And I'm not looking for an administrative or a principal position. I just want to go back into the classroom.
Right. I get you. I get you. Thank you for your question, Priscilla. And the situation that you have described just now, I know that's a situation for a number of individuals. Unfortunately, most of the J1 sponsors will require that you are currently teaching. So even if you are a principal, you are an education officer, you are teaching teachers, they want you to have a current teaching position. Priscilla, what I would suggest to you and also other individuals who have a similar profile as you is to apply to an H-1B sponsor. So do direct applying, apply directly to an H-1B school district as opposed to a J1 district. That is my best advice to you. Of course, you can continue to do your research. That is my best advice to you. Oh, I see more hands, but I'm still gonna work with the I'm still gonna work with the chat section for a little bit. Please forgive me if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, but Bakyarish, or Bakyakrish, excuse me. You asked, is a Bachelor of Education mandatory? For the agencies, definitely. What is the name of the YouTube channel that you mentioned? It's called Malika's Flex, the name that I have here on the screen for myself. That is the name of my YouTube channel. You can go subscribe and learn more about teaching in the US there. Are there any vacancies for French subject? There are many French teachers that are needed within different school districts. What are the chances of getting an opportunity in the USA after 11 years? 11 years is wonderful. All right, I'm scrolling.
Hello?
Hi, Bilal.
Hello, can you hear me? Hi.
I can hear you.
How are
Hi.
you, Malika?
Nice to hear you. Nice to meet you.
Yes, I was encountering some problems in hearing you. I was the one waving with my hand. There was no sound. Maybe you have noticed. Yes.
Oh, I didn't notice. I'm so sorry.
I'm on my laptop. Yes, I wonder if there are any vacancies for French teachers. I have a master's degree in French didactics or didactics of foreign languages, and I would love to apply for some French teaching vacancies.
There are vacancies for different subject areas. What you can do, you can go on the different H-1B school district websites and you can look directly at the vacancies. I've outlined on my YouTube how to apply, how to search for vacancies. So you can go there, check out the H-1B school districts. J1, the J1 sponsors are also looking for French and different subject areas. Yeah, you could just check out and look at the vacancies that are there, apply directly.
Where should I have to search or to look for this? Maybe districts or schools, colleges, and is there any list of sites?
Yes, I hope you were here earlier on when I shared on my screen different school districts and also agencies that do sponsor teachers.
Yes, I took the screen. Yes.
Just do a Google search. Just a Google search is all you need. When you get to the school district's website, you can click on careers. There will be a section for careers. When you go to careers, you can look for French and look at all the opportunities that are available for French.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. Right, and I'm trying to get to everyone's question. I think most of you are asking about your years of experience and your eligibility, but I did say before, in most cases, once you have two years or more of teaching experience, you are good to go. Somebody asked, is it difficult for Indian teachers, English teachers to get a job in the US, given that it's an English-speaking country? No.
Hi, Malika. Hi, can you hear me, Malika? Hi.
I can hear you.
Okay.
All right, I'm asking you guys, if you have a question, it's best to raise your hand first or put it in the comment section, just as to, not bombard the system with, a lot of noise just going around. So please, just raise your hand, or I've been working.
First, let me ask, can you?
Hafiz, I'm not hearing you. Your microphone is turned off.
I am saying I am Hafiz Umar from Pakistan.
Okay.
I want to ask, do you sponsor visa to Asian countries, J1 visa? You don't sponsor J1 visa to Asian countries for teaching purpose. You sponsor it for some specific countries, like I think they are in Europe, I like Australia, Canada, like New Zealand people. But you don't sponsor J1 visa to Asian countries like Indian, Pakistani. I think you should sponsor. Will you? Can you favor it? Can you give it to? Can you sponsor it in future or present to people um, who are doing job in the Asian countries like Pakistan, Indian?
Hafiz, as I said before, I am not a recruiter. I'm just sharing my experience. But the J1 visa agencies, they do sponsor people and have sponsored people from India and countries from all over the world. So you just need to, find different agencies, apply to them. And yes, they do sponsor people from all over the world. There's no prejudice based on where you're from.
Okay, can you give me the email address, the website of the recruiting agencies who can sponsor, who can hire me? Because I don't know the agencies. Where can I find the agencies? Can you give me your email address? Your email address directly. You are not the hiring person. Are you not the hiring person?
No, I do not hire anyone.
Okay, then on what? Where are you pulling from? Where are you talking on? What I mean to say, from you are talking from Educare organization.
So I am currently in the US. I am a Jamaican in the US. I'm just giving my experience, but I do not hire anyone. I shared some companies earlier on. You can look back at that list. You can just do a Google search and go ahead and apply.
Okay, where you share it in chat box? Where did you share it?
It was shared during my presentation, but this meeting is being recorded, so you can always look back at the recording. Or Hafiz, you can always go to my YouTube channel, just type in my name, Malika's Flex. You will see a whole bunch of opportunities there for you.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much.
No problem. Please, guys, remember, moving forward, please raise your hand if you have something to say. I was in the middle of responding to Simran's question about teaching English in the US, being from a non-English speaking country. But yes, the answer is yes. Once you have the qualifications and the experience, you should be good to go.
Oh, hi. Can I ask a question?
All right, let's raise our hands if we have questions to ask. I'll look at the hands very soon. I'm still in the chat box. Many individuals have asked their questions quite a while now. I'm just trying to get through the chat box questions for those of you all who have asked questions through the chat. So just give me a moment. Somebody is asking, does the UK qualification equal to a US qualification? As I said before, in order for you to determine the equivalency of your degree, you will have to do a credential evaluation to see if it is equal. Do they require QTS, that's qualified teacher status? No, no, that's just for the UK. What about special needs teachers? Special needs teachers are needed, highly needed. Do they accept a 55-year-old teacher? Yes, you can apply. They do not discriminate based on age. So please go ahead and apply. I see many of you are very concerned about the age. How to find schools directly in order to apply. I posted many on my YouTube channel. You can check them out right there. And I go further into how you can, search for yourself as well. Unfortunately, because we don't have a lot of time, I can't go through every single thing. in this webinar, maybe in a second webinar or a third one. But all the information is on my YouTube channel. I'll also be posting links on the EducoHire website that you all are on for you to, get more information. Is it difficult for Indian English teachers? Okay, same question. All right, any online teaching platform. I've posted online opportunities on my YouTube. I can't get into those now. Aisha Akhtar. I see your hand. Could you go ahead with your question, please? Remember to unmute yourself so I can hear you. I have about 7 minutes remaining with you all. Aisha, I hope.
Hello. Can
Hi,
you hear
Aisha.
me?
What's your question? I can hear you.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, I missed one thing. That was, the way you explained about the children. I'm actually married. I want to come with my spouses as well as my children. I actually missed the part when you were explaining the criteria of children. Could you please explain me again?
Your children can come along with you on either visa types, whether it's a J1 or an H1B. The thing is, though, your child cannot be more than 21 or
They are
older
just
than.
7 and 4.
You're fine. You're fine. And just something for you all to note: your child cannot go to school in the US unless they are 4 years old or older. So if your child is 3 or 2, you'll have to find a daycare for your child or your children. But other than that, going to school in most parts of the US is very, very much free in the public schools. Gigi Tenny, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Hi,
thank
Malika.
you.
I
Hi,
just
nice to
wanted
meet
to
you.
ask.
I'm sorry,
sorry for
Gigi.
Sorry.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, like, is it IELTS mandatory before applying for the schools in US?
If what is mandatory?
IELTS, that
No,
English
you do not. No, you do not need to do the IELTS. However, when you are evaluating your degrees, if your studies were conducted in a language other than English, you may need to get it translated, but that's about the most that you'll have to do. But no, you don't have to do the IELTS exam in order to land a teaching job.
Thank you.
No problem. Victor Onyango. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Victor, if you could unmute, otherwise we'll move on to somebody else.
Hi, can I ask you a question?
Hi.
All right, we have Victor, then I'll move on to you, Trixie. Victor.
Yes, I'm Victor. I wanted to inquire, please, can you share for us some of the agencies that recruit teachers, more so under J1 visa sponsorship? Thank you.
All right, so I shared that earlier on. I'm sorry. I shared that earlier on. So you could look back at the recording. You could also go on my YouTube and try to find some of those. I did share Interlodge, Faces, Participate. There's a whole list of them. All right.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Let's go to Sing.
Hi, thank you so much for your time and nice to meet you. Let's say if you had TESOL, so is there any other degree requires or you have MBA? So can we teach there?
Right, your TESOL, it's a bachelor's. Like, how does it work?
All right. Or do we need to do CELTA?
No, CELTA is not required. You just need a bachelor's in the field that you will be teaching.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. Sanjay.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hello.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am,
Good
actually,
morning
I
to
have
my
done.
end.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I have done my BTech in 2013. In 2016, my Masters of Science with Mathematics, and in 2023, I have done my B.Ed.
Okay.
So I am teaching mathematics since 2014. Just completing after completing my BTech, I am teaching mathematics, and I have around 10 plus year, around 10 years of experience till now.
All right, you all right, let me understand the qualification that you just said. Did you call it a BTech? Is that what you just said? What is a
BTech,
BTech?
Bachelor of Engineering.
It's a what?
Bachelor of Engineering.
Okay, so it's a bachelor's. Okay, so it's a bachelor's nonetheless. And you said that
Yes,
you did
ma'am.
your BEd recently. You should be
Yes,
fine
ma'am.
because you already had a bachelor's so many years ago. It's tricky. Some agencies will accept, some will not. You just have to apply and see.
Okay. That will depend on the agencies.
Yes, sir. Could you say that again?
And that is all depended on the agencies.
Right, and also the school districts if you decide to apply directly.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. Bilal?
Yes, madam. Yes, I am here. Hello.
Yes, your hand was up, Bilal.
Yes. I was wondering if there any possibility to benefit from guidance or assistance in finding, searching for jobs and applying for maybe relevant schools related to our subject. So maybe if you would assist us or provide us more guidance, please.
All right, you're asking for, like I said, I have links. Just because of the time constraint, I do have another meeting in the next 2 minutes.
Yes.
But there are links that
I have emailed you, so maybe you can take my email address and reply on me after the meeting if you have time. Of course.
I don't do emails, but there are 2 ways of reaching out to me directly. Well, kind of directly. You can always find me on Instagram at Malika's Flex, or there is a Telegram that I have that you could join to ask questions. All those details are on my YouTube channel. Guys, if you go to my YouTube channel, you can see all the
what is the name? What the name of your YouTube channel?
Malika's Flex. It's my name that you see on the screen right here. It's Malika's Flex. That is my YouTube channel. That is where you can get most of the information. Unfortunately, I am working under time constraint this morning. Unfortunately, that is what you'll see when you go to it. Malika's Flex.
Yes, Malika's Flex. Okay.
Right.
Wonderful. Thank you.
No problem. I'll take 2 more questions. I am running late for another meeting. Kasturi Biradar. Please unmute. I see that you're speaking, but you need to unmute.